A car slices through a dense, suffocating fog, its headlights struggling to cut more than a few feet into the oppressive darkness. The beams catch swirling wisps of mist, making it seem as if the world beyond the windshield is dissolving. Inside the car, four friends, Alex, Mia, Ryan, and Lena, all in their early 20s, are wrapped in a blanket of nervous energy. The initial excitement of their road trip has curdled into a palpable tension, punctuated by forced laughter that sounds brittle and hollow in the confined space. Mia, ever the provocateur, turns from the passenger seat to fix Alex with a teasing yet genuinely anxious look. "Are you sure this is the right place, Alex?" she asks, her voice a little too high-pitched. Looks like something straight out of a horror movie. Her eyes dart toward the skeletal trees that loom out of the fog like grasping claws. Alex keeps his knuckles white on the steering wheel, his gaze fixed on the barely there road. "That's the point," he replies, trying to sound more confident than he feels. "The Hollow House, they say it's been abandoned since the 1950s. Completely. Untouched." He glances in the rearview mirror, catching the uneasy expressions of his friends in the back. Ryan, who had been an enthusiastic supporter of this ghost hunting expedition from the comfort of his well-lit apartment, now leans forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Yeah, because a family died here, all at once. No one knows how. The police report just said ... unexplained circumstances." He relishes the dramatic pause, though his own widening eyes betray his fear. Lena, huddled in the corner of the back seat, shivers, pulling her jacket tighter around herself as if to ward off more than just the physical cold. "Can we not talk about death before we even get there?" she pleads, her voice trembling slightly. It feels like we're inviting something bad to happen. A heavy silence falls over the car. The only sounds the low hum of the engine and the rhythmic swish of the wipers against the damp glass. The car lurches to a stop, the tires crunching on unseen gravel. Before them, the Hollow House materializes from the mist like a monstrous apparition. It is a massive, decaying Victorian structure, its silhouette jagged against the starless sky. Time has been cruel to it. The paint is peeling in long, leprous strips. Windows are shattered like vacant, staring eyes, and a sagging porch looks ready to collapse under its own weight. An eerie, mournful wind howls through the broken panes, carrying with it the scent of wet earth and decay. The house seems to sigh, a long, drawn-out exhalation of forgotten despair. With a collective, hesitant breath, they step inside. The front door groans open with the sound of a tune being unsealed, revealing an interior cloaked in absolute darkness. One by one, their flashlights flicker to life, their narrow beams cutting through the thick, stagnant air. The light dances over old portraits on the walls, their subjects' eyes seemingly following the intruders. Peeling wallpaper hangs in pathetic curls, revealing the lath and plaster bones of the house. The furniture is all there, shrouded in dusty white clogs like a room full of ghosts. Every creak of the floorboards under their feet echoes through the cavernous space, a loud, intrusive sound that makes it feel as if the house itself is breathing. With them, its ancient lungs, inhaling and exhaling in rhythm with their nervous steps. Mia wrinkles her nose, waving a hand in front of her face. "Ooh, it smells like something died in here. Recently," she mutters, her earlier bravado completely gone. Her flashlight beam catches a thick layer of dust on a grand piano, undisturbed for what must be decades. Suddenly, a door at the top of the grand staircase creaks open with a slow, deliberate groan. It moves on its own, swinging inward into the pitch-black hallway above. They all freeze, their flashlight beams snapping upwards to fixate on the yawning darkness of the open doorway. Ryan lets out a short, choked laugh that sounds more like a sob. "Probably just the wind ... right?" he whispers, his voice cracking. But there is no wind inside the house. The air is heavy, still, and suffocating. Ignoring the unspoken terror that has gripped them, they force themselves to explore, moving as a tight, frightened herd. On the ground floor, Mia's light falls upon an old leather-bound journal resting on the mantelpiece of a massive stone fireplace. She picks it up gingerly, her fingers leaving clean marks in the thick dust. The pages are damp, as if soaked in water, and the ink has smudged and run together, making the spidery script difficult to decipher. She angles her flashlight closer, her friends gathering around her, their own beams adding to the pool of light. It says double quotes Mia begins, her voice a hushed whisper as she reads aloud. They won't stop whispering at night. I can't sleep. Their voices are in the walls, in the floor. They want my son. They say he belongs to the house now. Single quotes. As the last word leaves her lips, the faint, unmistakable sound of a child's laughter echoes from upstairs. It's a joyful, innocent sound that is utterly, terrifyingly out of place in this mausoleum of a house. It seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, a phantom giggle that chills them to the bone. Everyone freezes, their blood turning to ice. The laughter fades as quickly as it came, leaving behind a silence that is somehow more terrifying than the sound itself. Alex, his face pale and clammy, is the first to speak. He takes a shaky breath, trying to regain some semblance of control. Okay, that's enough for tonight, he says, his voice strained. Let's set up the cameras and stay together. No one goes off alone. With trembling hands, they begin to set up their ghost-hunting gear motion-activated cameras, EMF meters, and digital voice recorders. They place them in the main hall, the living room, and at the bottom of the ominous staircase, creating a small, illuminated sanctuary in the heart of the oppressive darkness. But as the night deepens and the world outside sinks further into shadow, the house seems to shrug off its slumber and truly come alive. Doors throughout the house slam shut with violent, percussive force, one after another, like a series of gunshots. Shadows dart and writhe in the corners of their vision, impossibly long and distorted figures that vanish the moment they turn to look. The air grows frigid, their breath pluming in front of them despite the mild autumn night outside. On the mantelpiece, the journal Mia had been reading suddenly flips open on its own, its damp pages turning as if caught in an unseen breeze, landing on a fresh, unsmudged page that contains a single chilling sentence. Get out. The whispers started as soon as the last light went out. A faint chilling sound like wind through a keyhole, but it formed a word. My name. Maya. Come upstairs. I sat bolt upright, my heart hammering against my ribs. I looked around the shadowed living room. Ryan was sprawled on the couch, his camera clutched to his chest even in sleep. Lena and Alex were bundled in sleeping bags near the cold fireplace, their breathing slow and steady. I was the only one awake, the only one who heard it. Maya. There it was again, a siren's call from the darkness above. It was pulling me, a thread of sound winding its way down the grand, creaking staircase. Against every instinct screaming at me to stay put, to wake the others, I found myself standing. My feet moved on their own, drawn by that ghostly invitation. I ascended the stairs, each step groaning under my weight, a protest in the suffocating silence. The voice led me to a single closed door at the end of the hall, the child's room. As I reached for the cold brass knob, the door swung inward by itself, not with a creak, but a low, mournful sigh. I hesitated on the threshold, peering into the gloom. The air inside was heavy, thick with the smell of dust and something else. Something sweet and decaying like old potpourri. Moonlight struggled through a grimy window, illuminating a graveyard of forgotten childhood. A legion of dusty toy soldiers stood frozen in a long-forgotten battle on a shelf. A doll with a single, unblinking glass eye stared at me from a corner. And in the center of the room, a small wooden rocking horse moved, a slow, deliberate back-and-forth motion as if pushed by an invisible hand. My breath caught in my throat. I whispered into the oppressive silence, my voice barely audible. Who's there? My eyes were drawn to a tall, cracked mirror leaning against the far wall. For a single, heart-stopping second, my reflection wasn't alone. A pale, small child with dark, hollow eyes stood directly behind me, its head tilted. I spun around, my heart leaping into my throat. There was nothing. Just the empty room, the dust motes dancing in the moonlight, and the relentless, rhythmic rocking of the horse. The cold wasn't just in the air anymore. It was seeping into my bones. Downstairs, the quiet was shattered by a sharp, hissed whisper. "Alex, don't move." It was Ryan. He was awake, his eye glued to the viewfinder of his camera. Alex, who had been stirring, froze. The camera, set to night vision, was painting the room in an eerie green glow. And in that glow, it saw what their eyes couldn't. A tall, slender figure was standing directly behind Alex. A featureless silhouette against the far wall, its head bent as if watching him sleep. "What is it?" Alex whispered, his voice tight with fear. "Don't move," Ryan repeated, his hand trembling as he held the camera steady. But it was too late. Spooked, Alex twisted around to look. Of course, there was nothing there. Just the peeling wallpaper and the shadows cast by the dying embers in the fireplace. "You're seeing things, man," Alex grumbled, but his voice lacked conviction. Ryan lowered the camera, his face pale. He replayed the footage. The figure was gone, but for a split second, as Alex turned, a distorted, warped shadow had flitted across the wall, unnaturally fast and humanly contorted. The whispers began to swirl around them now, no longer just a single voice calling for me, but a chorus of indistinct murmurs, coming from all corners of the room at once. The commotion woke Lena. "What's going on?" she asked, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. Ryan showed her the camera screen. Her face went white. The murmurs grew louder, overlapping, a maddening cacophony of hushed, urgent voices. Panic began to set in, a tangible, choking presence in the room. "That's it. I'm done. We should leave now." Lena scrambled out of her sleeping bag, her eyes darting nervously around the room. "No!" Alex shot back, his fear morphing into a stubborn, reckless curiosity. "Don't you see? This is what we came for. We're so close to figuring out what happened in this house. We can't back down now. Are you insane, Alex? This isn't a game." Lena retorted, her voice rising. "Something is here with us." Their argument was cut short when Ryan, who had been scanning the room with the camera again, noticed something tucked between the cushions of the armchair where he'd been dozing. It was another book, a small leather-bound journal identical to the first one. Alex snatched it, his hands fumbling to find the last entry. He read it aloud, his voice shaking. October 14th. "The boy is not our son anymore. He speaks in voices not his own, voices from the walls. He tells us terrible things, things no child should know." As the last word left Alex's lips, a deafening bang echoed through the house, and another, and another. Every single door upstairs, downstairs, closet doors, the cellar door slammed shut at once with violent, explosive force. The chandeliers swayed violently, and then, with a final fizzing pop, the lights died, plunging us into absolute, impenetrable darkness. Silence. A thick, heavy silence that was somehow louder than the chaos that preceded it. And then, a sound that curdled the blood in my veins. A child's laughter. But it wasn't a distant echo this time. It wasn't from upstairs or down the hall. It was right there, in the room with us, right beside my ear. A single, terrified scream tore from Lena's throat. As if in response, a wet smacking sound came from the wall next to her. Ryan fumbled for his camera, flicking on its powerful light. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating a freshly made handprint on the wall. It was small, the size of a child's hand, and it was glistening, dripping a thick, dark substance down the wallpaper. Blood. That was it. The final straw. The terror was a physical force, shoving me, propelling me toward the exit. "We have to get out of here," I screamed, the words raw and desperate. We all scrambled for the front door, a panicked, stumbling herd. I reached it first, my hands grabbing the ornate iron handle. A searing pain shot up my arm, and I cried out, snatching my hand back. The handle was glowing with a faint, malevolent red heat, burning to the touch. We were trapped. The laughter echoed again, closer this time, and the whispers swirled, finally forming coherent, terrifying words from the darkness. "You're not leaving. You're part of the story now. I can't believe it." There was a hidden staircase right under the rug the whole time. "Come on, let's go. Be careful. The steps are really old. WOAH ... Look at this place. The walls. They're covered in strange symbols. What does it all mean? Is that ... a coffin? It's so small. Guys, I have a really bad feeling about this. This is where it started ... This has to be it. Let's open it. Be ready for anything. Oh my god ... It's a child. Just a skeleton, clutching a doll. Did you hear that? The whispers. They're getting louder. They're turning into screams. The lights. They're flickering red. What do they want from us? What did we do? We woke them up. We shouldn't have come down here. Look, the doll. Its head is moving. Its eyes ... they're opening. Asterisk. You shouldn't have come here. Asterisk Ryan. Ryan, your eyes, they're completely black. What's happening to him? Mia, no. Something's dragging her into the darkness. Mia, I'm trying to get out. The door is gone. The walls are twisting ... It's like a maze. I can't find the way out, please. What do you want? Tell us what you want. Asterisk, stay with us forever. Asterisk. Sound of a camera falling, then silence. Sound of a car door, footsteps. Is anyone in there? This is the police. We received a report about a disturbance. Hello? Anyone home? The door's opening ... What is that? It's just a doll, sitting in the doorway. Why is it ... smiling? What happened here last night? If you have any information, please come forward. Don't forget to subscribe for more unexplained mysteries. Stay safe out there.